I've got a special gift for you that I think could possibly be, for some of you, very life-changing. So I'm going to tell you about that gift that I have for you. Plus, we're going to talk about a few of the top headlines I saw recently that I want to pull out and call out and talk about with you guys. Plus, a few of the comments from the Peter Leeds Army members beneath previous videos. We're going to address those in this video. Nothing we say here is personalized trading advice for you. Make your own decisions, do your own due diligence, live with the success and the results of all of that. Never forget that Peter Leeds, along with the entire Peter Leeds team, we love you guys. We love you guys. We do this for you. We do this because of you, and that is an actual fact. And I didn't call him out by name, but Jackson the Explorer is who is our first Peter Leeds Platinum subscriber for the Peter Leeds Army. I look at a lot of different information, and what I want to do with these headlines is that I notice things that I think would be relevant to you, helpful to you, will help explain my view on the economy. And so I pull those out, and those are what these are. I look at dozens and dozens of headlines. These are the ones that I think you need to see. Yellen says the economy is not in a recession despite GDP slump. She says the U.S. economy is in a state of transition, not recession. Okay. When you look at the economy, job creation is continuing, and household finances remain strong, and consumers are spending and businesses are growing. But then this is also a related headline to that. White House goes on offensive to argue that the U.S. is not in a recession. The White House responded to Thursday's second quarter negative GDP growth with a coordinated message. The U.S. economy is not in a recession. They're telling you what they want you to believe, whether or not it's true. Coming on the heels of a 1.6% contraction in the first quarter, the two straight declines meet the most commonly used definition of a recession. But you have to understand, maybe in their view even, we're not in a recession yet, but we'll get there. But check this out. Why are they so worried about it? Why do they need you to believe that we're not in a recession? The same reason they told you that inflation was transitory, the same reason that they told you the economy is strong. They need you to believe all these things. Whether or not it's realistic, whether or not it's reality, that's besides the point. They'll tell you what they want you to believe. There's no voting link for the gold coin contest. All the photos in the last video, I had 14 photos. Those are the 14 finalists. And that's for 7 days from the release of that video that you can vote. And you have to give 4 votes. You say, here's my top 4 favorite selections for who's deserving of the gold coin. If you don't get 4 votes, we don't count your votes. Inflation figure that the Fed follows closely hit its highest level since January 1982. That's the personal consumption's expenditure price index, which rose 6.8% in June. I'm going to show you a little bit more about this in just a minute. Excluding food and energy, so-called core PCE increased 4.8% from a year ago, up 1/10 of a percentage point in May. 1/10 of a percentage point. It's not as though we are having rampant, out of control inflation that's going to feed on itself and get worse. Not right now. Here's an interesting one, because this is one of the things that I believe will actually continually stoke consumer price inflation, prices that you see on the shelves. Peak shipping season ahead of the holidays is about to begin for a volatile supply chain. Port congestion and longer container wait times are resulting in higher ocean shipping spot rates on some routes. Price increases will ultimately flow through to the consumer. So, as long as there's problems with the ports and the shipping backlog, there's always going to be competition for products that do actually get here. There's a lot of money going after fewer and fewer products. We've been working through the supply chain snafu for a while. It's getting generally slowly better, but we get these issues, these dropbacks where they close down another port in China, or there's global peak season for shipping. That's going to make the constraints on the supply chain that much stronger, lead to a little bit more inflation. And here's a cool testimonial from Dan. I love you, man. Consider me a private first class. Now lead me. That's from Dan. Thank you, man. All you people who are joining the Peter Leeds Army, and some people are asking, I just click on that and it just takes me to the Peter Leeds YouTube page. That's because you're on an iOS device, either an iPad or an iPhone. There's one extra step, and I'll put a link. It's so simple. You just have to click the 3 dots. So I'll tell you guys in the video below this. It's someone else's video. They explain to you in 1 minute how to join the Peter Leeds Army if you have an iOS device. Tom Lee says the 2022 bear market is over. Stocks could hit new highs before year end. Tom Lee is a pretty smart guy. He's been right plenty of times in the past. He's been wrong a few times in the past as well. But listen to this when you go a little bit deeper in this article. Our base case for the first half of this year was that stock would be treacherous, and it's been far worse than we expected, Lee said. It's been a far deeper correction than we expected, but yada, yada, yada. Listen, he's wrong, and he admits he was wrong, and now he's telling you the way it's going to be. However, I do believe he's right about one thing, is that the market does have a lot of momentum right now. There's a chance that we're going to have another run higher before we have a longer run lower over time. If there's a stock you're watching, now is maybe a good time to load up on it. This is what I've been doing with, and again, yeah, I'm buying a lot of gold miners, but I was buying Barrick Gold, Newmont Mining. I'm just loading up on gold mining stocks because they are the most unloved asset going right now. The tides are going to shift. Gold prices will start having a lot of momentum going higher. And when that happens, the gold miners are going to be the real beneficiaries of the increasing price of gold. A lot of the stress points which are bending are unbending a little bit for now. The markets could go higher leading into the fall. Some of the real estate prices are holding up pretty well, especially with the low inventory. And now with the mortgage rates coming down so sharply in such a short time. But it's all about the long-term trajectory. Where's everything heading? And I'm telling you where everything's heading. We are so overly leveraged, it's all going to be very problematic as all of this deleveraging happens, as all of this deflation starts getting closer to town. Deflation's worse than inflation, and the Federal Reserve knows this, and I believe that we're heading into that kind of a period. Hey, check out this one. The world is infected with humans and their voracious appetite for profits. Control Delete says, I dream of a world in which the value of my gold miner stock would triple. Just wait. Just wait. I bought more Barrick Gold stock today. Now I hear this from you. And I replied to Marty McDonald. I just 5 minutes ago bought more Newmont Mining. It is all on sale. Barrick, Newmont, anything in gold. Pale Whale says we've been in a recession since 2008. Forget recession. Here comes a depression. I'm more in line with your views, Pale Whale, than most. JR says gold will crash further like the stock market. After the dust has settled, it will do well. Too much hopium even for Peter. Yeah, sure, maybe, but we do agree on one point. After the dust has settled, it is going to do very well. And you can see here on Mark Capelli's comments that there's a Peter Leeds badge. And anyone who's already joined the army will always be the most advanced or most experienced Peter Leeds army members, because they start off with the white and black icon, the badge, and that will change to different colors over time. And they will always be ahead of people who are just joining now because they joined earlier. So they'll be top ranked compared to anyone who joins after they joined. But you can see how they get the badge right before all the comments. So I know that that is a supporter. Question to Peter Leeds followers: what bounces back first in a stock market crash? Gold or silver mining stocks? It'll both happen at the same time. Basically, precious metals will bounce back. Silver is more volatile than gold, and therefore the silver stocks can have more of a reach, maybe a stronger percentage gain or a bigger percentage loss than gold. So they'll bounce back together, but silver will bounce back percentage-wise faster than gold, typically in general, historically. Woody Woods says, I can't decide between Peter's penny stock newsletter and a Peter's Army membership. I replied, I said, both, dude, get both. And then says, neither, just my humble opinion. Not everybody loves me. Ari Bencher says, I think the recession's already here for the people who are feeling it already, if that makes sense. It absolutely does make sense. There's different worlds. There's the Jerome Powell, Janet Yellen world who say that some people are just prone to suffer. And there's people who are regular people, mortal people. We go to the grocery store and we pick up a block of cheese off the shelf and we see what it costs. DA says, okay, glad I joined your army of supporters for the monthly price of a cup of coffee. Ari Bencher says, I asked this once before and I still don't get it. If there's hyperinflation and our money becomes basically worthless, what's the difference with what we invest in or how well we do? Anything that goes up in price and you sell it in that short-term time frame, that'll be beneficial to you. If you're looking super long-term and you think the American dollar is going to lose a lot of its value, the reason it matters is that because maybe you want to benefit from gold holding its value while everything else decreases in value. It depends what choices you make as you are bouncing around in this crazy economy. Sometimes you move into one asset and it increases in value, and then you will have the ability to acquire more assets and so on. You also have a lot of risks. There's all sorts of landmines that you don't want to step on that's going to wipe out a lot of your investment dollars if you're not careful. So it's all about, in the shorter term time frame, making the decisions that are going to be best for you. Yes, the American dollar is losing all of its value and it'll eventually get there. But as it's going on that journey, what moves are you going to make in the short-term time frame? Are you going to invest in gold, for example, while the dollar completely collapses? That makes the value of gold compared to assets you could buy different. So you would sell the gold and put some of that money into some of these beaten down stocks that then could have a long and prosperous uptrend for many years going forward from that point. DA, and you can see that he's a supporter. Glad I joined your army of supporters for the monthly price of a cup of coffee. Thank you so much. You guys, we're going to have a ton of new videos all the time as long as we get enough supporters. Dexter Young says it won't let me join. Turns out it takes a couple extra steps, simple steps for iOS devices. And you can see beside Dexter's comment that he is actually a successful member of the Peter Leeds Army, even though he had an iPad or an iPhone. It's a YouTube thing. It's out of our hands. I did not see it coming that if you have an iOS device, you can't join the memberships on YouTube channels. I didn't expect that. I can tell you that much. But it's a quick, simple fix. And now we have, as you can see with Dexter, he has now officially joined the Peter Leeds Army. And I appreciate every single one of you guys. You guys are making me so inspired, and I'm so proud of you guys. And Francis Aldridge had a couple of good points. Copper is down 30% since April. Copper is in everything. All prices are going to come down because copper is less expensive. And then going on, Francis says, I've noticed malls getting creamed. Go to the local mall and see the vacancies. Then go again every month. The vacancies are getting worse and worse. There's not a lot of rentals. Retail is getting decimated. And Tom Hendren says, Peter, where's the button to join? The Peter Leeds Army is talking about, but you can see that he has now successfully gone ahead and did it because I gave him the link that says here's an easy way for you to join the army. He just clicked, watched the video, did the thing, and joined the army, and now he's got the Peter Leeds badge, his rank, beside every comment that he makes. And my free gift to you, what this is was a letter that I gave out with every copy of my book, UP.THINKING. And it starts off with, this letter was about you, and it goes on to a whole bunch of cool stuff, a different perspective of how to see the world. A way that when I changed the way I look at the world, it changed everything for me. And it could be the same for some of you as well. Certainly not all of you, but some of you will really benefit from the special letter. Check this out. There's all sorts of great wisdom in this, but this is one of my favorite points. A turning point in my own life, and maybe it will be the same for you, was when I shifted my focus from what I wanted to have or to get to who did I want to become. That alone would change a lot of your perspectives. It did for me as well. And try that. Just think about things that way and watch where you end up a month from now, 2 months from now, 3 months from now, and so on. You'll see it's a big difference. Too much of the world right now is about doing it, and focusing on what you have and what you get. It's not a way to have and to lead the absolute best life that you could.